Picture the gaslit streets of Victorian England. There's a killer on the loose, but it's not some shadowy figure in an alley. No, this killer is silent, it's odorless, almost tasteless, and you could buy it for pocket change at the corner store. This was the terrifying age of arsenic, the so-called inheritance powder. And this is the incredible story of how science finally caught up and ended the perfect crime.
So let's get right into the biggest problem facing any Victorian detective. Imagine this. Someone is suffering, right? They've got horrible stomach pains, they're vomiting, they're completely dehydrated. Is it cholera, which was absolutely rampant back then? Or is it something way more sinister, slipped into their tea by someone they trust? For the longest time, it was pretty much impossible to know for sure. And because of that uncertainty, it was basically a golden age for poisoners. I mean, with no real way to test for these things, murder just looked like another tragic death. The local doctor, bless his heart, would come by, sign the death certificate, and unknowingly help a killer get away with it, and, walk away with a nice little inheritance. And this symptom masquerade was just shockingly effective. Just look at this side by side. The symptoms are, well, they're identical. A poisoner didn't need some master plan. All they had to do was wait for the flu or cholera to be going around, slip a dose to their target, and let everyone assume it was just bad luck.
And this is what makes it so bone-chilling. We're not talking about some violent attack in a dark street. This was intimate. The killer was your husband, your wife, your nurse. The act of murder was disguised as an act of care, which turned the family home into the most dangerous place you could possibly be.
Now, you're probably thinking these poisons must have been hard to get, right? Locked away somewhere. The reality was so much worse. Lethal poisons were literally woven into the fabric of everyday Victorian life. They were hiding in the most normal, mundane household items you can imagine. Just think about this for a second. That beautiful, trendy green wallpaper everyone had, it was loaded with arsenic that could turn into a toxic gas. You could soak flypaper in water to make a deadly drink. Women were literally eating arsenic wafers to get that pale, fashionable look. And laudanum, which is basically opium, was given to fussy babies all the time. Your entire house was a potential arsenal. And the Victorian relationship with poison just got weirder. Get this. Over in a region of Austria, there were these guys known as the arsenic eaters. They would just munch on chunks of raw arsenic, believing it made them healthier and stronger. They built up such a crazy tolerance that they could survive doses that would kill a normal person instantly. You can imagine what a nightmare that was for the courts. But an arms race was brewing. While the poisoners were getting bolder, a new kind of hero was emerging. Not from Scotland Yard, but from the chemistry lab. This is the moment science starts to fight back, developing incredible new ways to make the invisible killer finally visible. The big one, the absolute game changer, was called the Marsh test. Invented back in 1836 by a chemist named James Marsh, it was the first totally reliable method to find arsenic in a human body even long after death. The poisoner's greatest weapon, invisibility, was about to be completely destroyed. And the process itself was just so elegant and so devastating for the killer. You'd take a tissue sample from the victim, mix it with some chemicals to turn any arsenic into a gas, and then you'd heat that gas. As it passed through a glass tube, it would break down and leave behind this unmistakable, shimmering metallic layer, a literal mirror of guilt. For the very first time, a jury could actually see the murder weapon. And when this hit the courtroom, the public went absolutely wild. The first big test was in France, where a toxicologist used the Marsh test to convict a woman named Marie Lafarge. People were mesmerized. Suddenly, the scientist was the star witness, and the courtroom transformed. It wasn't just about arguments anymore. It was a theater of scientific proof. It was the world's first CSI effect. So with this powerful new weapon in their arsenal, investigators finally stood a chance. And this new science was immediately thrown into the fire in some of the most sensational trials you've ever heard of, bringing down killers who thought they were untouchable. Let's start with Mary Ann Cotton, who might be Britain's first female serial killer. She is suspected of murdering up to 21 people, including her own mother and children, all for tiny insurance payouts. For years, she just kept saying they all died of gastric fever. But when her last stepson died suspiciously, they ran the Marsh test, and they found it. Her reign of terror was over. And then you have the case of Dr. William Palmer, the gentleman poisoner. He was a well-respected doctor who was drowning in gambling debts, so he started using his medical knowledge to kill his creditors.
not cure his patients. His trial was a massive public spectacle because it just shattered that comfortable Victorian idea that you could always trust a professional.
And this next case feels unbelievably modern. Christiana Edmonds became known as the chocolate cream fiend. After she tried to poison her lover's wife, she started leasing random chocolates at a local sweet shop. Her plan? To spread chaos and blame the shopkeeper, all to cover her tracks. It was a terrifying new kind of public random violence. Now, these shocking, high-profile cases did a lot more than just sell newspapers. They forced the entire society to look in the mirror and confront just how much poison was in their own homes. And that pressure led to huge landmark changes in the law that finally started to dismantle the poisoner's whole toolkit. And it all came to a head in one single crucial year, 1868. This was the year the law finally caught up with the chemistry, and it changed everything about who could buy poison and how. This was the checkmate. The Pharmacy Act of 1868 was a brilliant piece of legislation. It created the mandatory poison register, which meant you had to sign your name and state your purpose to buy poison. It meant only licensed pharmacists could sell it, and they even introduced clever safety features, like these distinct ribbed bottles you could identify by touch even in the dark. Just like that, anonymity, the poisoner's best friend, was gone. And, the work of these Victorian scientists laid the foundation for literally everything we have today in forensics. The search for poison in stomach contents became the search for DNA in a single strand of hair. The Marsh test evolved into mass spectrometry, which can detect poison in parts per billion. And that old poison register, that handwritten signature, well, today, that's the digital footprint of a suspect's Google searches. So it seems like science completely disarmed the Victorian poisoner. But it really makes you wonder, doesn't it? In our world of designer drugs and complex bioweapons, has the poisoner truly been defeated? Or are they just back in the lab working on their next perfect crime?